Psalms chapter 5, verse 6. Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. The Lord Yahweh will abhor the bloody and deceitful man. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory. Call Halal Allah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Waha, Rachak, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Aki around the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth for faith and sincerity, risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwap and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willing, this edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the heathen, looking like the heathen, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say Shalom. This is the brother Yahweh Sap out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, by Yahweh Shah. And basically, I had this article for quite some time. The FCC says 5G doesn't pose new radiation threats, and you know when you're in this truth, you get busy, Well, actually, it's not that old, We in a new year. Today is the first, January 1st, 2020, year of prophecy. But like I said, I'm doing my mandatory 3 videos. Well, our camp we do 4 because we do one on the Shabbat. But if the spirit on you, should be doing one every day, or some people doing more. I know brothers in the camp do multiple videos a day. Sometimes I can do more, sometimes I do the bare minimum. But that's neither here nor there. Basically, I've been wanting to like I said, the inspiration for my videos come from all different sources, and I've been had this newspaper article that I wanted to do a video on when I seen that headline about the FCC. And what they say about 5G doesn't pose new radiation threats. So what I'm going to do is, unless the spirit, because my tablet saying it's 3:33, 1/3, that's a lot, But anyhow, that scripture in Psalms 5 verse 6, I'm gonna bring it out again. It says, thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. Now when you go into that word leasing, it's a Hebrew word H3577. It's kazab from H3576, and it literally goes into falsehood, literally untruth, or figuratively deceitful, false, a liar, lying. So basically it's saying thou shalt destroy them that lie, liars. And you go to the book of Revelation, it talks about the lake of fire being for all idolaters and liars and whatnot. And that's you got 2/3 mixed up in that. But who is the biggest liar on the planet? It's this devil. You know what I mean? When you go into the word devil, it basically means to deceive. And that's what these red Hebrew Edomites have done. Brother brought out scripture in Luke 12:2. Anything that's hid shall be uncovered. Roughly paraphrasing. And at the end of the day, the biggest thing that these red Hebrew Edomites have hidden was their identity. There's multiple things they try to hide. They try to hide our identity, their identity. They trying to hide the plan of what their plans is with this new world order thing. Multiple things they try to hide, but at the end of the day, I like to bring that scripture out because due to the fact that through Yahweh Shah, he's uncovering them. You know what I mean? He's exposing them. You know what I mean? And like when you were in the world before, the Most High opened your eyes up to this truth, you didn't see none of this as being wrong or him being deceitful or the devil. But he truly is. And just I say all that to say this, because at the end of the day, I've done multiple videos on this 5G. You've had doctors come out and actually speak on the risk of the 5G. I actually have an article to basically come against the article the FCC has about how it doesn't pose any threat. And that's just to show you how much this man is truly the devil. You know what I mean? All to try and solidify and keep, he wants to try and keep his empire, and at the end, and that shows you how much of a base and carnal man he truly is. Because at the end of the day, a carnal person doesn't look at the repercussions or whatnot. They don't look at the spiritual aspect. You know what I mean? I forgot who told me this. I think it was an elder. It was somebody that did a video though. I know it was somebody in one of the GMS camps that spoke on. Basically, they were saying Esau is so base, so carnal. He'll poison the water to sell you a bottle of water. You know what I mean? That's how greedy and just how carnal he is. So you know what I mean? Like if you believe in it, this shit don't have like any side effects when these are the same devils that actually create medicines and then let people test them, then actually get them out to market and then recall them after the fact because they find out that they had health issues or they were too dangerous to be even on market from the get-go. Actually I was gonna get into a type of work. It's called basically like penetrant testing. You test like certain products for defects. And the guy that taught the class, he was saying how he worked for Ford. And basically, if you ever seen that Fight Club, he was saying how the guy, can't think of his name, that's The Spirit. That's one of my favorite movies, but I haven't watched it in quite some time. But the whole guy that basically the movie's about, he had multiple jobs because he was an insomniac, but the main job he worked for an airplane company. I guess he was the insurance. He did make sure that they didn't have to pay out money when it was accidents and whatnot. And he basically, like he was saying, they would take the chance of if the product, they would make more money by letting the product going out. But even if they got sued, but they still made a profit, they would go through all that. So human life wasn't, basically the human life wasn't even considered. You know what I mean? Like money overruled. And when you take the time to think about it, that's how base this man is. This man doesn't think about life. You know what I mean? If that's the case, if you really cared, you wouldn't have. Right now, with the resources and the way society is set up, you got the ability that we don't even have to pollute the planet. You know what I mean? You got Tesla. So why are they still using fossil fuels? So like, I don't mean to digress. I just thought of a scripture too. Bear with me for a second. And this is just a scripture to solidify my point, because at the end of the day, like I told you, right now you live in a society. I mean, look at the value or the price of life. Human life isn't respected, especially here in America. That's why you're seeing so much of. Look at all these. I mean, and to show you how, the society, and that's the thing with all the social media and whatnot. We just did a video yesterday on New Year's Eve. How certain camps do the New Year's Eve of destruction videos and whatnot. And we was just saying, like, basically how Facebook performs and I meant to do a video on that. Slakia for bouncing around. My mind running 50 miles per minute. But, to show you how, that's how Facebook was a government psyop. Because you have people that don't even follow what's going on the news or whatnot, but somebody will post something on social media, on Facebook, and then you got everybody that have an opinion on it. You know what I mean? Or they'll sit up there and go by the opinion that was stated. So at the end of the day, we live in a society where, like I said, people. It tell you in scriptures that the love of many shall wax cold. That's why you got people that could just walk past a man or a woman. I mean, women. You know what I mean? Or the street, fucked up. You know what I mean? Homeless. Like I was listening to the brother Taza Pa in Houston. He was saying he said he had even considered going out being homeless. You know what I mean? Because in this truth, we take we take our weapons. You know what I mean? Say beaten with many stripes. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we count it all as done for the love of Yahweh Mashiach. But just proving the fact that the world is given to base men, and anybody. I mean, a child would realize who's in control. That's why when you watch television, who is in all the prominent positions. When you really watch and that's another thing about this Red Hebrew Edomite. No matter what genre or what nationality, what kind of movie, like say for instance movies in China, he the last samurai. He the last, you know what I mean? Like, he every fucking thing, you know what I'm saying? He everything but the Edomite. And that's what he's trying to keep hidden. But, Salakia for digressing. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 4, verse 17. This matters by the decree of the watchers and the demand of the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and give it to whomever he will, and set up over it the basis of men. So it letting you know, like I said, like these people think they in control. You think you in control. You're not in control of your life. Yeah, you have free will, but you know, at the end of the day, this is an algorithm. If your life was meant to, if you was meant to be exposed to the truth, no matter how much you run from it, eventually you're gonna be put in a position where you may not never accept the truth onto death, you know what I mean? But you gonna always having it popping up in your head. You gonna go through certain situations, and sometimes we do make things hard. I know I have. You know how like Jonah tried to run from, he tried to run. I always equate my little situation to Jonah. Bear with me for a second. So, that's a spirit. One of the brothers just called me out the blue for no reason. Salakia. So anyway, bear with me for a second because I do really need to return this call. So bear with me for a second. Salakia. But like I was saying, so basically, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out who's actually in control of the world, controls all the resources. That's why you have this red Hebrew Edomite in all countries. I mean, you know, he has embassies, basically garrisons in every country. But that's the spirit though, because I was just watching on RT News. I didn't read the article, but they were saying how I think it's in Salakia. I forget where exactly it was. I would have to check my news feed. I think it was Baghdad though, that basically they stormed the embassy. Bear with me for a second. Yeah, it was in Baghdad. It says U.S. troops fired tear gas as protesters throw stones at the embassy in Baghdad. And that's just, you know, the spirit of the Lord showing you, you know, when has that ever happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that's how you know that this red Hebrew Edomite is losing power. But not to digress or confuse the video, the topic was on his 5G. But it's so much stuff that you could always talk about, you know, with these videos. That's why I'll be surprised when certain people don't even have the discipline to take 10 minutes out their day to do a video. So if you ain't disciplined enough for that, how you disciplined enough not to eat pork? You know what I mean? Or disciplined enough not to smoke a cigarette or to fast for, I ain't even gonna say a day. You know what I mean? I was listening to my young brother. He was saying, shit, I done did so many one day fast. You know what I mean? I've had to fast for a prolonged time. So you know what I mean? Like, I don't suggest that to you know what I mean? Like, but the Most High, that's how I know the Most High made me do it though. Long story short, like I said, I'm bouncing around. The whole point of this video is this article. I believe it's out of the Wall Street Journal. It says FCC says 5G doesn't pose new radiation threats. It's by Sarah Crouch. The Federal Communications Commission has decided to allow the rollout of the new 5G wireless network without making changes to federal safety limits for cell phone radiation exposure. The agency voted unanimously. Wow, it's funny. I ain't never had that much trouble to pronounce the word. Unanimously this week to keep in place standards for how much exposure. It said to keep in place standards for how much exposure to the radio frequencies energy cell phones and antennas emit is safe. So basically, that's proven right there that they don't, you know what I mean? Like, it's all about money. Because basically, it's a scripture in 1 John about how the whole world lies live in wickedness. And basically, the whole world's going to be live under this 5G. You know, you got to remember, like I said, the Spirit led me to, like, just go check out, you know, Uber and Lyft and all that. And you come to find out, all that's up under the 5G umbrella already. That's how they can look at you and you can watch them and know that they come to get you and they can know where you at exactly. It's all up under that network. But like I said, they didn't do no test or whatnot. They just agency decided to say, well, you know what, it's cool. It's no new threats. And that's the hypocrisy of this fucking devil. It says the standards cover consumer devices and infrastructure used on cell towers and rooftops. The FCC said it found no basis for changing current exposure limits and took to heart the Food and Drug Administration's comments that the weight of scientific evidence hadn't linked cell phones to health problems. The FCC decision touches on an issue that has been divisive among scientists and government agencies. No expert health agency expressed concerns about the Commission's radio frequency exposure limits, and others who commented and presented scientific research failed to provide any specific pragmatic recommendation for how RF exposure limits could be adjusted, FCC staff wrote. Now, you had people come up there and basically try to present evidence, but they say any specific. This motherfucker ain't the devil. The 4 major U.S. wireless carriers are racing to roll out next generation wireless services, installing thousands of small cell antennas on rooftops and light poles, and selling a new wave of 5G compatible smartphones. The National Toxicology Program within the Health and Human Services Department spent decades on a study that centered on exposing animals to radio frequency radiation akin to what is associated with 2G and 3G cell phones. Rats and mice were exposed at levels higher than what human users typically experience. The National Toxicology Program researchers said a year ago that they found clear evidence that cell phone radiation exposure can cause cancerous heart tumors in male rats. Now, they just said that they couldn't find any specific pragmatic recommendation for how radio frequency exposure limits could be adjusted. So basically, they were trying to say that, like it wasn't any. It says the FCC's decision touches on an issue that has been divisive among scientists and government agencies. No expert health agency expressed concerns about the Commission's RF exposure limits, and others who commented and presented scientific research failed to provide any specific pragmatic recommendation for how RF exposure limits could be adjusted. Right. So basically, they're trying to say it's good as it is, but you got this whole National Toxicology Program that actually did a study and saying that they see that these rats actually develop tumors. This motherfucker's the devil, did. But the devil is, that's the power of the devil. You know what I mean? To fool you. You know what I mean? Like fool you in multiple different ways. You know what I'm saying? That's just like right now. These motherfuckers that did all this wickedness, but then at the end of the day, they want to play the victim card. They point the finger. Like I say, I'm still trying to explain to some people. You got Israelites that call themselves Puerto Ricans and Israelites that call themselves Mexican. To show you how bugged out that shit is. I remember when I was in the joint, the first time I heard that and found out that Mexicans and Puerto Ricans don't even like each other. Y'all speaking the same bastard ass tongue that the motherfuckers that conquered y'all gave y'all, and yet still y'all look, and yet still y'all don't even know that, they don't like each other. And us as Jake, as so-called Judah, what you would call a black man, they really don't like us. You know what I mean? They think, because it's all divide and conquer. You get what I'm saying? But if you go do some history, you'll find out that at one point in time, the lowest motherfucker was this pink Hebrew Edomite. I ain't gonna call it red. What is red Hebrew Edomite though? Salakia. It says it wasn't clear that the final conclusion meant for humans. It wasn't clear what the final conclusion meant for humans. The FDA said at the time that conclusions about the risk of cell phone use to humans couldn't be drawn from the study because it wasn't designed to test that. Ain't that about a bitch? It said the Food and Drug Administration said at the time that the conclusions about the risk of cell phone use to humans couldn't be drawn from, and that just show you the power of greed for the love of money. You know what I'm saying? It ain't money that's the root of all evil. It's the love of money, because you gotta be, that's all this is. You got these companies. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Like when I was in high school, one of my favorite classes was social studies. You know what I mean? And I had a hell of a teacher. And basically, you know, she went into how the lobbyists. I knew the shit was corrupt then because we was kind of in the streets, or I was around people that was in the streets. You know what I mean? You get to figuring out how shit worked. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, like I remember they let us watch that movie with Eddie Murphy, Distinguished Gentleman, and you know this movie had all kind of cussing, all kind of shit in it. And I was only like in the 9th grade, but she made that call upon herself. I mean, you know, and I'm glad she did. She made that call upon herself because she was like, this is a comedy, but at the same time, it actually showed you government structure. And it literally showed you how a con man went into a government position and he fit right in because all they is con men. You know, you'll find out how the lobbyists are paid a motherfucker to go and basically try and get a politician to vote the way that they want to vote to pass laws so the companies they work for make money. Like real talk. And that's the spirit because I got a book by Glenn Beck now that he's speaking on that same thing. But not to keep on bouncing on. And that's probably how they passed this shit because I was following this. And you got whole neighborhoods that was standing up like we don't want these poles in our neighborhood. We don't want the towers in our neighborhood. So they try to basically satisfy or appease them by making the towers look like trees or whatnot. Because the difference between these towers and the old cell phone towers is they're not tall towers. They're probably like 5 to 6 feet tall. You probably have passed one and don't really realize that that's a 5G tower. But what the thing is, because of how they got to be spaced, that's how they basically the network is going to be so close together. There's going to be towers next to each other like every 5, 10, 15 feet. And with that many towers, it's going to emit a radiation field. And this is proven. That's how you know this motherfucker's the devil. Let me finish the article though. Salakia. It wasn't clear. It says the FDA said at the time the conclusions about Salakia. The FCC decision flies in the face of the massive scientific evidence. That's the spirit. I just said it and now it's in the paper. It says the FCC's decision flies in the face of the massive scientific evidence that has accumulated, accumulated, suggesting cell phone radiation does have adverse health effects, said Paul Ben Isha, a senior lecturer in the Ariel University Physics Department in Israel. And this is an Amalekite. He might be Jake though, you know what I mean? Just because, you know what I mean, you know, it's all spiritual, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, Amalek, you know, when you see certain people doing certain things, you know what I mean? Like, you got to remember, like, it's all spiritual, you know what I mean? That's why the book of Genesis taught you the attributes of Jake and taught you the attributes of Esau. You know, and then people play like they don't understand who Esau is. Esau was a cunning hunter. Who is a cunning hunter to this day? I work at a job where these motherfuckers go hunt. I work at a job where a nigga there, been in there for like 40 fucking years. He's so much of a stupid sellout ass nigga. He was going with the Edomites to go hunt. And these motherfuckers wouldn't even let him actually take the kill. You get what I'm saying? But you still so stupid and so want to fit in with Esau. Yeah, just goofy shit. Salakia. I got a scripture. Bear with me for a second. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 10. I'm going to start at verse 5. I'm going to start at verse 2. Psalms 10 and 2. The wicked in his pride The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken into the devices that they have imagined. And they will be taken into the devices, you know what I mean? This whole new world order shit, you know what I mean? You know, this Space Force shit, you know what I mean? Like, all you doing with them calling themselves, like, even if how they trying to basically, like, come up against, you know, the brothers in the truth, the real, I mean, you know, the sincere brothers in the truth. This campaign where they're trying to basically like label us as a terrorist organization or a hate group, you know what I mean? With this, you know, because they actually started like different task force, you know what I mean? Like You know, but it's gonna all come. You know, it's gonna blow up in their face. Because at the end of the day, take time to think about it. All you doing is proving our point that you the devil. If we wasn't a threat, why would you be going to these lengths of actually, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about what they doing. They actually started agencies. Not every week it's a Israelite that actually, a black Hebrew Israelite that actually, he psycho, he go psycho shit. You know what I'm saying? He doing, now like I said, mind you, I've been in the hood most of my life. You know what I mean? That hood shit, the ghetto, let's call it what the fuck it is. You know, you put the spin a hood on it to make it, hood is a breakdown of neighborhood. But when you hear hood, that's, you know, how the Jacob used to basically try you know, deal with the fact that they poor. Let's call it what it is. I grew up in a ghetto all my motherfucking life. At the end of the day, I've been around Jake all of my motherfucking life. Some of the most gangsterous dudes I've ever met, they won't do shit if an Edomite walk through the neighborhood. I've only seen a few actual 2/3 niggas that will actually like case stand them, let them know. You know what I mean? You'll see some bullying type shit sometimes in a joint, but for the most part, Jake is not gonna just go on no rampage of killing no Edomite. Like the fuck, they are broken. So at the end of the day, Salakia though. So let them be caught in the devices that they have imagined. Because at the end of the day, this make them look bad. You know what I'm saying? If this ain't real or what we saying is so far-fetched, why are you coming up with a... You basically had changed up the YouTube policy to keep our videos from being aired. I had a video, I did a video on this Edomite bitch. She was fucking a dog and tried to convince you it's okay to fuck a dog. They flagged that video. Verse 3. For the wicked... Now that's okay, but that video could... Now they didn't never take her video down, but they took me making a video about talking about this bitch down. But her video can corrupt the mind of any little girl. You know what I mean? Like, verse 3, for the wicked boasters of their Salaki, for the wicked boasters of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covenants whom the Lord abhorreth. Verse 4, the wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after Yahweh. Yahweh is not in all his thoughts. Verse 5, his ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth them up. Verse 6, he hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in a verse. And that's what these Edomites think. That's why the fuck you got them talking about, well, in 2075. You know what I'm saying? Look at all the fucking shit going on in the world. You talk about some 2075. You don't even, the fuck, people that didn't think they was gonna get to 2020. Verse 7, and this is the point. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Of course, he's a vain motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? He how you thinking. You watch how many people take this chip, not realizing that once you take that trip, if you an Israelite, that is, you know what I'm saying? Like, that over. You know what I'm saying? Your only bet as an Israelite on this side is to fight to the dying breath to not take the shit. But watch how many people take it. That's why it is a elect. And people don't believe that. People believe that God come to save every fucking body. Why would God come save a corrupted world? Salakia, I got another scripture. The book of Psalms, chapter 58. This is Psalms 58 and verse 1. To the chief musician, do ye indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do ye judge uprightly, O ye sons of men? Verse 2. Yea, in heart you work wickedness, you weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. Verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And at the end, and that's why you can't trust none of these motherfucking these crackers. And it's a difference between it. I mean, like I said, a lot of people don't be getting what we saying. That show you how they're not spiritual. A person could look like an Edomite, but their spirit comes across like a Jake. You get what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If you really met a real Edomite, you gonna tell the difference. You got certain people that you think is white, but they feel more comfortable being around Jakes or who you would call niggas. You know what I'm saying? Then you got motherfucking Edomites. I work at a job right now where you got motherfucking Edomites that looking at you like you a nigga. They want to. You can tell they want to call you a nigga. The job I used to work at. I work at now. They said. I hear the stories of how these Jakes had to pay the way for us. Dude say shit. Back in the 90s, he was like this. Wasn't even. He was the first black welder in, and that's only 1990, man. This ain't no fucking 1960. This was 90, man. And he paid a way for a nigga to be able to weld in there. Salakia. So at the end of the day, then you got a dumbass motherfucker sitting up here thinking that you fit on the level with these fucking Edomites. Do you even know that at one point in time, the whole purpose of what you get classism, back in 16, I think they came up with the term white people back in like 1620 or something. So before then, they weren't even called fucking white people. That was a whole thing to give them a class system. Because at one point in time, you had they don't know shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. It's a lady named Jacqueline Battlelora that wrote a book. Go check her out. This ain't just my fucking opinion. This is a fucking so-called white woman that wrote the fucking book. And like I said, at this time, like I said, they weren't even called white people. So this is how they change and who the fuck they is. That's how you know they Esau for real. I got the other article on the 5G, because although anybody that's been following this knows that these motherfucking devils, and that's how you know it's the end, like that, and that show you how base the motherfucker is. Like I said, this dude literally passed it so they can go ahead and mark, because they got too much money involved in it. Come on. This is Scientific America, and it says observations: 5G is coming. How worried should we be about the health risks? It says, Salakia. As a spirit, because I had to get a different article. I just grabbed any article because they was basically like they was trying to sell it as if it wasn't that dangerous. But as I was looking that up, it basically went into Cleveland, and it was saying how Verizon Wireless is like one of the first companies in Cleveland. Like, you got 5G in selected areas of Cleveland. I know for a fact I got a brother that worked near University Circle, and it's a 5G tower over that way. You can see what they look like sometimes. I know it's some out in Willoughby. In certain areas of Cleveland. But this is an article on BBC News. Does 5G pose health risk? It says, I'm going to get to the point. The electromagnetic radiation used by all mobile phone technologies has led some people to worry about increased health risks, including developing certain types of cancer. And if you know anything about the human body, you can go look this up. Your biggest organ is not like your brain or no shit like it. Your biggest organ is your skin. Right. Your biggest organ is your skin. It's something that they don't tell you. That's how you know that you fucking devil. Anyway, it says in 2014, the World Health Organization said that no adverse health effects have been established as being caused by mobile phones use. However, the WHO, World Health Organization, together with the International Agency for Research on Cancer, has classified all radio frequency radiation of which mobile signals are a part as possible carcinogens, and that means cancerous. And that's enough said on that one. I got one more script and then I'm gonna end it. Psalms 36. And that's the spirit, because I forgot that said this in this song. But because you got to remember, these people knowing that this shit is dangerous, but because they so base, they still roll it out. That just show you how he abhor of not evil. This is Psalms 36, verse 1. To the chief musician, a psalm of David, the servant of the Lord, the The transgression of the wicked saith within my heart that there is no fear of Yahweh before his eyes. Verse 2, for he flattereth himself in his own eyes until his iniquity be found to be hateful. Verse 3, the words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. He hath left off to be wise and to do good. Verse 4, he deviseth mischief upon his bed. He setteth himself in a way that is not good. He abhorreth not evil. And at the end of the day, you gotta remember, they didn't just come up with this overnight. You know what I mean? That's like with all this shit, like with this new world order shit. For like this plan, if you go research enough, you go find out, like, look, that's why you have certain Masonic presidents and shit like that. Like, they've all been, what's the word? Like, furthering the agenda. You silly ass niggas thought when Obama got in the office, my job that I work at now, I got all these jakes in there. You know, they most likely 2/3, but who's to say? I can't say who is 2/3. You know what I mean? The Lord knows who the elect is and not. I can be doing the work and I'm not of the elect. Just because you do the work don't mean that you're going to be saved for salvation. You know what I'm saying? You only going to be saved for salvation. And it say Matthew 24. And 13. Matthew 24 and 13, but he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. Because during that time, it's going to be many things happening. You know what I mean? You're going to have earthquakes. You're going to have rumors of wars and wars. You're going to have pestilences and all kind of stuff. And, you know, if you ain't got that spirit of the Lord on you, you ain't going to be able to endure all that. And only a man that does endure all that is going to be saved. And save is an action word. Just because you got dunked in some water and somebody said a prayer over you, you shouldn't even. I always had this funny thing about churches and certain people touching me and all that, and I see why now. You know what I mean? It took me 41 years to get it, but you know, because people bring energy and got spirits on them and shit like that. You know, people think because they go to a church, you know what I'm saying? You sit up there, oh, I'll be the church. That's why it makes so much sense when he said his spirit is so big that it cannot contain in a building. You know what I mean? The Most High is not inside these churches. You go really in some churches. And I remember growing up, my mother at one point in time was looking for a church to make her like her home church and shit. And she, every week when I would go visit her, she would go to a different church. I used to hate that shit. And finally she found this church. Now I got a family member that's a deacon. You know what I'm saying? But I never liked this fucking church. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just looking at certain little shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, you had the reverend with his granddaughters and these little two twin girls, hot as fucking the pussy. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I'd be surprised how much probably shit was going on in that church. Then as I got older, you know what I mean, when I was in the street and doing all kind of folly and shit like that, I ended up having to come back to this church multiple times. You know what I mean? I had a grandmother pass there, all kind of different shit. And then niggas I was dealing with in the street was in this church. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, this is just, so at the end of the day, I bounced around a little bit. It's just, at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? You can't trust the devil. And this devil's about to really, like this year is going to be an amazing year. Believe that. I mean, you got less help and you got more of a push to, you know, I mean, this is the year that, come on, Elon Musk saying he able to actually, you know, give you this Neuralink. And what a lot of people don't realize is Elon Musk is not the only person that's pushing that kind of technology. You know, he's just like the biggest name on it. You know what I'm saying? Then you got the Hyperloop shit. You got a lot of stuff going on. And then with all this, and the Most High code like that, he the master chess player. He gonna put you in a position. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the cold part about it. That's why, like I said, you don't know who the elect is. You just because you doing the work don't mean that necessarily gonna be saved. Because in that day, when you presented with a chip, and it's your family right there, what kind of spirit you gonna have on you then? But with that being said, I'm gonna end the video. And like I said, with that article coming out, that's just proving this motherfucker the devil. You know what I mean? As much, and that just proved that, like I said, he probably really spilled that oil on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like, you probably Flint was really poisoned. You know what I'm saying? Like, just this motherfucker. And to show you how base he is, it ain't like he goes into a teleporter and teleports onto Mars and then he comes back down and, you know what I mean, like off of fucking Elysium. This motherfucker got a, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just, A base person, a carnal person, is a person that do shit when not, you know what I mean, don't take time to meditate or anything. They just react. Like the brothers, that's the spirit, brothers in ancient days were saying, you don't want to be like no tiger in this thing. You know what I mean? You want to be like a serpent in this thing. When a serpent strikes, it strikes precisely. You get what I'm saying? You know, for the most part, it's just sitting and observing. You know, a tiger or a dog or, you know what I mean, a gorilla. I mean, although gorillas ain't as just reckless like that, but, you know, those are beasts that actually, could, just react to certain shit. You fuck with a gorilla enough, the gorilla fuck around and flip. You know what I'm saying? They've showed that, but they also show when kids have fallen down in the gorilla pits, how the gorillas protect them from the other gorilla. So, you know what I mean? Like, but I've seen also where gorillas flip. You know what I mean? So, that all being said, for those that subscribe to this truth, just stay prayed up. You know what I mean? We in a new year of prophecy, and watch how many prophecies unfold. And to those that are the first time hearing this truth, may the Most High move your spirit. Well, if you are part of the elect. And with that, I want to say, Call halal Allah Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua Waha Rachak. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth and faith and sincerity, risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willing, it was an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad, looking like the heathen in the land of the heathen, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom, and to the next time, Adawan Ratazah, I'm able to come with another lesson as soon as possible. And to next time, shalom, and abad babal.